Salem, Oregon. Salem being short for Jerusalem. It's a mid-sized capital city with a downtown and suburbs, many immigrants, Mexican immigrants especially, settlers from all over the country who came west to seek their fortune. Many came to Salem just to escape where they were coming from. Some came because of hardship. Some came to avoid simple tedium, boredom. For many years, our class played this game called the Oregon Trail. How many of you played this? I'm actually curious. It's a game that taught children's history of Oregon. It was a game that I thought only Oregonians played. I never knew that this was a game played across the United States. And in fact, for most people in the U.S., this is the only thing they would know about Oregon until Portlandia. It was a game about preparation, facing hardships, and dealing with losses. At the beginning of the game, you had to buy supplies, food, blankets, medical supplies, without knowing what you would encounter along the trail. The beginning of the game started in Missouri, near the mouth of the Mississippi and Missouri River in St. Louis, and took you on a trail westward, where nobody could tell you for certain what would happen to you. I've wondered for many years how being born in the West, at the end of the trail, has influenced my idea of searching. I've wondered what it meant to be born in a place where people sacrificed to get to, even to this day. Like the settlers who came from the East, I experienced hardship. I experienced simple tedium and boredom. I have felt that it was either time to go to another continent or backtrack where all these settlers have come from and wish to escape from. Go back to the place where they imagined a new Jerusalem and experienced it and named it 1 hour from the Pacific Ocean, an hour from the mountains, 3 hours from the desert. I've wanted to retrace their steps and perhaps see if there is still ash from the burning house they left. I first heard the story of the burning house in the Lotus Sutra very recently, and it immediately made me think of technology. We now have the whole world in our hands, and it's our phone. It's a tool. It's a toy. It's an office. It's entertainment. It's an agitator. It moves the markets. It's a lover. For some, it's an appendage of their very person. I was born before the internet and saw it come into existence as a child. We can thank Al Gore for that, right? I was born in the transition where CDs became MP3s, and it became possible in a matter of months to put over 1,000 songs on a device smaller than a pack of gum. I remember fondly about the frustration of dial-up internet, and my mother, who was so angry that she needed to make a phone call. I remember the awe and joy of cable and DSL, which allowed nearly instant, seeming light speed gratification. It literally felt as if the world was at my fingertips. And in a sense, it was. I was born during the transition from landlines to common usage of cell phones. I went from the use of cell phones only for emergencies to the current day where I no longer have a landline. I have seen how a hashtag on social media can start a social movement. I have seen in so many ways a greater accountability thanks to so many people who can take video on their phone. I remember the day Jennifer showed me a video of armed guards holding machine guns at a place in North Dakota that was set to build an oil pipeline. I remember Jennifer showing me this video and telling me she couldn't find this on a news feed anywhere. But here it was. One person showing the world. And then many others who said, yes, actually that's real. It was a cry for help through technology, wireless connection. Martin Luther King Jr. said, we belong to a network of mutuality. The word network always resonated with me. And now, because of technology, this term has added meaning. We see on a never-before scale this network of mutuality. We now experience viscerally this truth, how one person, one post, one video can transform our world. It is an enormous power that perhaps has always existed in some way, but now we see enacted each and every day. And the networks get tangled. We see all sides of our humanity, including the sides we wish would just disappear. We see the reality, for some, of putting limits on how they use technology, if they use technology, and who they allow to impact their network. We have created mini networks in order to find support and sanity in a scary and confusing time. We are witnessing how these wireless networks can be manipulated by both domestic and foreign powers, by business, by a single or small set of individuals. We see a concern about our privacy, about the validity of our vote, about whether our inner life is being tracked and bought and sold based on who we communicate with and what we look at. I still have a flip phone. Some people have interpreted this as a reaction against technology, even a moral judgment of our modern era. The truth, I have to say, is more simple than that. It's not based on a moral principle or because I'm trying to make a statement. It's simply because it feels that everything is moving so fast, and I'm not sure I'm ready to give myself to the current of that river completely. We've let the river run for decades now, and it's moving faster than my spirit. It's moving faster than my attention. I don't think this is a positive attribute of myself. I'm just telling you the truth. Jennifer keeps asking me when I'm ready to enter the year 2019, approaching the year 2020. Even as I say 2020, I feel like I'm talking about the future. On one hand, I feel we should have cars that fly, and I should have a hoverboard, and maybe a pulpit with rockets attached, so we can all have worship in the sky if we want. In a strange way, I feel like if I imagine the year 2020, I feel like we would be more advanced. Yet, even with the current advancements we've made, I'm not sure I'm completely ready. I'm not against technology on principle. You may see me someday with a phone that by that time is 2 years old, but is new for me, tweeting about my day, and offering status updates every time I drink a cup of coffee, or go for a walk, or sit down, or have dinner, or simply think about having dinner. I would not see this as a problem. I'm just not quite there yet. I've followed the premise that I will quickly learn about what I need to know by those who are more connected to technology than I am. Perhaps I still like the illusion of feeling like I'm only listening to my own thoughts. I like to look at the birds instead of looking at a phone when I walk. Did you notice that no one looks at the sky anymore? We have the whole world in our hands. Even the sky now is in our hands. We can see pictures of the sky. We can see the Arctic lights. We can type in clouds that look like bunnies, and we will see a sky with bunnies. In a way, we have a sense of control over our attention, unlike we've ever seen before. We can order and direct our attention toward whatever we like. Except, not really. We are inundated with advertisements. Marketing companies who track our cookies, not just the edible ones. We get news we don't want to see, and yet we also don't want to miss. We see status updates of everyone from our second grade teacher, who now is battling cancer, right next to a video of our niece, who is in her first school play. Our attention is being trained to move adeptly and quickly from one thing to the next. Some are concerned this is having a numbing effect, making us numb by seeing distressing things with so much frequency. Vacillating between images that lift us up to images that fill us with distress in seconds. We are beginning to experiment with the age-old question of human consciousness and testing of our consciousness, like the universe, expands. Our attention has a finite percentage of what it's capable of. I don't have an answer to that question. I also, as some of you know, based on my announcement and other things, know I'm not much help in regard to fixing or understanding technology. I'm not the most technically adept. And I admire those who understand its intricacies and uses in ways that I barely comprehend. But one thing seems to be true to me. We are living in a burning house. Don't be too concerned. You can stay in your seats, at least for the time being. This house has been burning for a long time. As Billy Joel said, we didn't start the fire. The toys have changed over the decades and over different lifetimes. But it seems to be the case that as a species, we are especially skilled at focusing our attention on what we want, while avoiding, to some extent, what we don't want. It's not completely successful, but enough to keep us occupied, to keep us busy, to make us feel normal. I've always found it very wise that in the Lotus Sutra, the father is very careful not to cause the children to panic. He doesn't try to scare them out of their predicament. He doesn't shame them. He doesn't say to them, "Why are you so distracted with your games?" with your toys. You should notice this, and you should be like this. And you shouldn't be preoccupied with your toys and your games. No, he doesn't do that. In this scenario, I feel like all of us are both the father and the children. We have the things in our life that give us a sense of normalcy and comfort. And we have realities waiting to consume us if we don't notice them. But we shouldn't panic. Panicking won't get us out of the house. It might just further confuse us or cause us to obsess even more with our toys. There is a basic premise in this story that we are the way that we are, and we need to learn to work with who we are. There are many things happening currently that are giving people reason to panic, including the environmental crisis, as one example. I know there are many others. But panicking will not get us out of the burning house. In the story, the father does something ingenious and kind of sneaky. He lies to his children. He tells them a lie, that he has a fancier, shiny object for them to play with outside. At the end of the story, he doesn't say how the children respond to being lied to. It doesn't say whether they're disappointed or just grateful to be alive and see the flames, knowing they're standing outside. It doesn't say because that's not the point of the story. The point is they're out of the house. They're safe. And they're alive. I think more than ever we need to remind people that there is something more than a burning house. There is a place of sanctuary. A place within us and around us that is good and that holds us close in love. It doesn't say in the story that they called the fire department and the flames were put out. Maybe the fire continued to rage on for eternity. Maybe it was finally put out and became ashes, a symbol, like our chalice. Maybe nobody really knows what happened because the children became so busy playing, they lost track of it again. But it doesn't matter. The children are safe and loved, and whether the fire is burning or not, they are there. We need that message in our world. We need that reminder. We need to experience there is more to life than flames and loss. Which is why, like the Father, this church is experimenting with our most addictive and powerful toy, technology. It is why we have started recording our services. We started live streaming. There are people watching live from their home right now. Hello. Thanks to Brian, our videographer, our editor, and our poster. Whether it's the flow of rivers, the flow of complicated networks of mutuality, or the simple flow of time, it is good to listen to that flow. We have existed in a world of wireless connection before the invention of wires, and now after and beyond. The New Jerusalem awaits. It points us back to where we started.